Well, welcome back from the weekend. It was a joyful weekend full of different events. On Friday, we were in Mbale, where there was the Sino Mbale Business Park by Uganda, Build Uganda Trade Fair and Bazaar that was commissioned by the Vice President of the country. And on Saturday, it was officially closed by the Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja. And in here, we saw different merchandise and products that are being either made in Uganda for Ugandans and also assembled in the country. Now, what this means is that these products become cheaper for Ugandans and become more affordable as compared to when they are imported into the country. Also, industrial parks like this one create jobs for many Ugandans. So personally, this was a very beautiful venture to witness, and I believe that many Ugandans got pretty good deals during that trade fair. Well, welcome to Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najama with we are the three musketeers. That is me, myself, and Jerome Paul Sonko and Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Now, according to the executive arm of Kampala Capital City Authority, they did not highlight the decommissioning of Chitezi landfill to a Ghanaian farm as it has been claimed. According to the acting executive director, Frank Rusa, he says that when a contract was given to him to sign, he forwarded it to the Attorney General for advice. Now, his comments come after the IGG, that is Betty Olive Namisango Kamya, directed that KCCA immediately stops dealing with this Ghanaian farm. Now, a lot has come in from KCCA, and because now we also know that the former executive director, Dorothy Chisaka, and her deputy, plus the director of public health, were last week arraigned in court. And among the cases that were functioned against them is manslaughter. So much coming in from that side of things, but let's see how the gentlemen on the team are doing, especially given that it's been raining all morning. Good morning, Chirabo.
Good morning and welcome back from Mbale.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine. I think it is now time that we enjoy the rain because, you know, as Ugandans, we have two rainy seasons. And it's not common to many countries in the world, not even in East Africa, but in the world. So we are blessed. And for the farmers, we mostly depend on, 90% of our farmers depend on rainfall-fed agriculture. Now, this means it's a time for them to plant. Not forgetting areas where the rain is very devastating, like those that stay in some areas I won't mention, but if you stay around Entebbe Road, the other side of, it becomes a disaster to you. But by and large, we all benefit from the rain because the farmers produce food. When food prices get high, it is also another problem. Now, you mentioned issues of KCCA and Chitezi and the Ghanaian investor. I think for the first time, the Lord Mayor, when he whistle blew, because to be honest, I remember when seemingly the landfill was handed to the Ghanaian investor. And I remember Honorable Minister Chofato Gabye saying now we've given the contractor the job, he should start doing work immediately. Now, after Rukwago, the Lord Mayor doing the whistle blowing, saying things are not clear. That prompted the IGG to intervene. And the IGG requested for a few things to show evidence how this contractor competed and also to show ability to do work. So there are things the IGG report directed that they should be worked on and forwarded to her. If she feels satisfied, then the investor will go on with what he intends to do, because this is a problem we've been having. So we just wait and see. But I'm also happy with what happened in Mbale because people are buying things at factory price. Now, we still have a big challenge in our country that there are goods that we used to import, but now we manufacture here in Uganda. However, certain times, the things manufactured here tend to be more expensive than the things imported into Uganda.
That's very true.
So I'm happy when you tell us that at the Sino trade show and bazaar, commodities being manufactured or assembled, because they do two things. They manufacture, but they also assemble. Now,
Yes.
if these were cheaper than those that are on market, then I'm happy we've made that breakthrough, because I'm always disorganized and hurt. How do you tell me something made here is more expensive than something imported?
I did notice that there are certain mobile phones that are made locally. There was one that interested me. It was a smartphone called My One, and that one is manufactured here in Uganda. And the price was about 399, and they said if it's not at a trade fair, it costs about 500,000. Now, for a smartphone, I think that's quite affordable. But also, Robert, when you mention some that are made here and are a bit expensive, I noticed that there was a company that dealt in couches, chairs, basically household items like furniture, and I didn't like the pricing. They were a bit too expensive for my liking. Yeah.
It happens, and usually when you ask them, they attribute the cost of production. They'll tell you the power tariffs, they'll tell you the raw materials, they'll tell you this taxation and all that. At the end of the day, that's what makes it expensive than what is imported. The question therefore now remains, are we going to have the boo-boo? You get it, Olive?
Yes.
Because if I can get a chair imported in Uganda
At 5 million.
at 5 million, why would I go for that manufactured in Uganda?
At 5 million.
However patriotic I am, that is maybe at 8 million.
No, even 5 million. But Robert, I know the conversation there is deep, because the whole idea for Buy Uganda, Build Uganda is for us to be able to afford certain items as compared to when they are imported into the country. But let me check on Jerem, who is looking rather splendid this morning. Good morning, Sonko.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our dear viewer. Again, welcome back from Mbale, Olive.
Thank you. How are you?
I am doing okay, though it seems this entire weekend God decided to shower us with lots of blessings. And speaking of God, over the weekend, the Right Honourable Speaker to Parliament, Deputy Speaker to Parliament, that is Thomas Tayebwa, joined a group of clergy from the Catholic religion to go to Vatican, and because they were celebrating the 60th anniversary of the canonization of the Uganda matters. And the Deputy Speaker to Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, was actually representing the President, and he actually presented a speech on behalf of the President, where the President was thanking the Catholic religion for being part of the religions or Christianity that has shaped the society norms today, the Christian values, and also being very impactful when it comes to the social and economic development of the country. So when you look back at the 60 years since the Uganda Matters were canonized by the Catholic Church, that is from the headquarters in Rome or from Vatican, it is worth a celebration from the side of things, especially from the religious bit of the things. But that said, here is a new week, and we hope that as we are almost coming to the end of the month of October, which I've seen as a month that has been short-lived, I hope this week gets even more easier for all of us.
All right, and we do hope for the same. Now, in the same breath, regarding the canonization of the Uganda Matters University also passed out over 2,000 graduates in a ceremony that took place in Nkozi. Now, the university was named Uganda Matters University because it was also founded in the same year that the Matters were canonized as saints. So we get to celebrate two things from that side of things. Anyway, we move on to the local news with Robert Chirabo.
Well, we begin with President Museveni, who has committed to continue supporting the Federal Republic of Somalia in her effort towards total peace and stability. The president made the commitment during bilateral talks with His Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mohamud of the Federal Republic of Somalia at State Lodge, Nakasero in Kampala. His Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mohamud is in the country as an official guest. According to the communique read by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, General J.J. Odong, the two heads of state exchanged views on the security situation in Somalia and the region and underscored the need to maintain peace, security and stability in the Horn of Africa and in the African continent. They also commended the sacrifices made by African Union Transition Mission in Somalia and Somalia security forces in peacifying the country. The head of state welcomed the establishment of the new mission of the African Union Support and the Stabilization Mission in Somalia and built up on the achievements made by the predecessors. The Bishop of North Ankole Diocese, Reverend Canon Alfred Muhoozi, has discouraged youth from misusing social media platforms, but use them for developmental projects like research and studies. This call comes following a government plan to equip all public schools, computer laboratories with computers, laptops and iPads under the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Bishop Alfred Muhoozi made the revelation at Hotel Triangle in Mbara City, where he launched the North Ankole Anglican Youth Missionaries Mbarara. Moving on, the Minister for Science and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, urged graduates to envision their future and work strategically, emphasizing the importance of delaying gratification for success. She was speaking at Ndeje University's 26th graduation ceremony, where over 1,200 students graduated in various fields. Presiding over the graduation ceremony at the main campus in Wero district, Minister Musonero emphasized that successful individuals are those who can delay immediate gratification. She also urged the graduates to combat corruption wherever they encounter it, reminding them that corruption is not limited to government institutions. Dr. James Bukomeko, the Bishop of Mityana Diocese, and representatives of the University Consortium announced that the university will soon introduce Bachelors of Medicine and Surgery and Bachelors of Law programs. Ndeje University's Vice Chancellor, Reverend Canon Professor Olivia Nasaka Banja, represented the University Chancellor at the event, where she conferred degrees on the graduates. More than 1,200 students earned diplomas and degrees across various disciplines that included education, computer science, and engineering. And finally, after a long period of concentration, Uganda Matters University in Nkozi graduated over 2,000 in different disciplines. The Chancellor of Uganda Matters University in Nkozi, Bishop Dr. Anthony Ziwa, said Uganda Episcopal Conference thought it wise to name the university before the Uganda Matters, and that's why today it's exactly the same date in 1964 when the Uganda Matters were colonized as saints in Rome. The Vice Chancellor, Patrick Kyamanywa, said that Uganda Matters University is passing out 54.7 are females and the biggest number of graduates since its inception. Professor Kyamanywa also told the congregation that the university has participated in a number of research works which has attracted funding to this institution of higher learning. This graduation ceremony started with a holy mass led by the Archbishop of Gulu Diocese, Archbishop Wecharachi. Outstanding students and gifts were retired Archbishop of Gulu, John Baptist Odama, and Fabian Kassi. Managing Director, Centenary Bank Uganda Limited, received honorable PhDs for their outstanding achievements.
Well, now we move on and look At the news internationally, where Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have been ramping up personal attacks on each other as the White House rivals blitz battleground states 16 days before the election. In Pennsylvania, Trump served fries at a McDonald's as he sought to cast doubt on Harris's biographical detail about having worked decades ago at the fast food chain. The U.S. Vice President was in Georgia, where she tweeted that Trump was exhausted, unstable, and unfit to be president of the United States. Polls show the two locked in a razor-tight race across the country, including in the 7 battleground states that could swing the election. Speaking in traditionally Republican-leaning Lancaster County on Sunday afternoon, Trump focused heavily on economic issues and the U.S. border issues, which his campaign believes give him an edge with undecided voters. If you look at the polls, the biggest thing is the economy, he said. But I think the border is bigger than the economy. That's the number one thing people want to talk about. Now, moving on. Hurricane Oscar has made landfall in eastern Cuba, packing winds of nearly 80 meters per hour, which is around 130 kilometers per hour, on the third day of a nearly nationwide power outage. On Friday, the island's main energy plant failed and knocked out electricity for 10 million people. Supply was partially restored on Saturday before collapsing again. Energy and Mining Minister Vicente de la Oleve said power would be restored for most by Monday night, while the last customer may receive service by Tuesday. The Category 1 hurricane made landfall near the city of Baracoa at 1750 local time and could cause flash flooding and mudslides in eastern areas, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center. For many people, since the outages began, it has been a few days with no air conditioning or fan. Food is now beginning to rot in fridges, and some families are having to cook with firewood. Many homes are without water as the supply depends on electric pumps. Now, lastly, Egypt has been certified malaria-free by the World Health Organization, an achievement hailed by the UN Public Health Agency as truly historic. Malaria is as old as Egyptian civilization itself, but the disease that plagued pharaohs now belongs to its history, said World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Egyptian authorities launched their first efforts to stamp out the deadly mosquito-borne infectious disease nearly 100 years ago. Certification is granted when a country proves that the transmission chain is interrupted for at least the previous 3 consecutive years. Malaria kills at least 600,000 people every year, nearly all of them in Africa. In a statement on Sunday, the World Health Organization praised the Egyptian government and people for their efforts to end a disease that has been present in the country since ancient times. It said Egypt was the 3rd country to be certified in the World Health Organization's Eastern Mediterranean region, following the United Arab Emirates and Morocco. Well, now that wraps up our local and international news, but we have more in the realm of the news in the press with Jerome Paul Sonko.
Well, from the New Vision today, teachers get 20 billion shillings for SACCOs. Karamoja produces Best Teacher for 2024, and there is a pictorial at the front page where President Museveni honors Uganda's outstanding teachers. A pictorial which also has the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports. And then also Minister URF boss clash over merger. Read about that report in the New Vision as Uganda Revenue Authority issues new luggage regulations at Entebbe. That report is in the New Vision as well. Then Katanga sister visited Chigo prison and talked to suspect More of that is in the New Vision as Tayewa represents President Museveni in the Vatican. Find out more of that in the New Vision as well. Then off to the Daily Monitor, the standard gauge rally, headache after the party. Looking at the numbers, 10 trillion Ugandan shillings is expected, is what the expected cost is. Then the rising costs are highly. The first 2.2 billion US dollars have been revised to about 2 billion, and you can read about the same in the Daily Monitor. Now, arts teachers to wait longer for salary raise, according to the Daily Monitor. Then in healthy living, importance of exercise in cancer treatment. Then Electoral Commission advertises 13,000 jobs for 2026 elections as the roadmap is underway. As also the bigger topic here is UEDCL takeover of Umeme Limited's concession. That is come April 2025. Then in the Daily Nation, that is off to Kenya, revelation, the ousted deputy president says he had advised his boss against the Adani deals, housing levy and high taxes. Now, of course, the Daily Nation says Gachangua's bombshell is what is being highlighted here, how the ousted DP's hotel room was bagged. Find more details. Now, also, the President, William Ruto, warns against tribalism and assures on the SHIF. This is after the 2024 Mashujaa Day celebrations. Now, in matters health, how rushed digital health system caused chaos in hospitals. And then in matters devolution, governors seek senators' help in raw over 20 billion Kenyan shillings. And that does it for our press review this Monday.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Now, in a special way today on the 21st of October, a special person was born, and that person literally took my heart, and she owns my heart. That is Heather Murungi, my beautiful daughter. She was born today, and today she makes double digits. That is 10 years old. So happy birthday, Heather, from Mommy. I love you very, very much. And from Good Morning Uganda, gentlemen, join me to wish Heather a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Heather.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Heather.
Happy birthday, Heather.
Happy birthday. May you have a long life full of God's blessings and wealth.
Heather is a very good viewer of Good Morning Uganda.
Yes, she watches Good Morning Uganda pretty much. Well, we now move on, and we'll leave you with the inspiration song of the day, and that is from Cece Winans, Be Still and Know. According to the acting executive director, Frank Rusa, he says that when a contract was given to him to sign, he forwarded it to the Attorney General for advice. Now, his comments come after the IGG, that is Betty Olive Namisango Kamya, directed that KCCA immediately stops dealing with this Ghanaian farm. Now, a lot has come in from KCCA, and because now we also know that the former executive director, Dorothy Chisaka, and her deputy, plus the director of public health, were last week arraigned in court. And among the cases that were functioned against them is manslaughter. So much coming in from that side of things, but let's see how the gentlemen on the team are doing, especially given that it's been raining all morning. Good morning, Chirabo.
Good morning and welcome back from Mbale.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine. I think it is now time that we enjoy the rain because, you know, as Ugandans, we have 2 rainy seasons. And it's not common to many countries in the world, not even in East Africa, but in the world. So we are blessed. And for the farmers, we mostly depend on, 90% of our farmers depend on rainfall-fed agriculture. Now this means it's a time for them to plant. Not forgetting areas where the rain is very devastating, like those that stay in some areas I won't mention, but if you stay around Entebbe Road, the other side of it becomes a disaster to you. But by and large, we all benefit from the rain because the farmers produce food. When food prices get high, it is also another problem. Now, you mentioned issues of KCCA and Chitezi and the Ghanaian investor. I think for the first time, the Lord Mayor, when he whistle blew, because to be honest, I remember when seemingly the landfill was handed to the Ghanaian investor. And I remember Honorable Minister Chofato Gabye saying, now we've given the contractor the job, he should start doing work immediately. Now, after Rukwago, the Lord Mayor doing the whistle blowing, saying things are not clear, that prompted the IGG to intervene. And the IGG requested for a few things to show evidence how this contractor competed and also to show ability to do work. So there are things the IGG report directed that they should be worked on and forwarded to her. If she feels satisfied, then the investor will go on with what he intends to do, because this is a problem we've been having. So we just wait and see. But I'm also happy with what happened in Mbale, because people are buying things at factory price. Now, we still have a big challenge in our country that there are goods that we used to import, but now we manufacture here in Uganda. However, certain times, the things manufactured here tend to be more expensive than the things imported into Uganda.
That's very true.
So I'm happy when you tell us that at the Sino trade show and bazaar, commodities being manufactured or assembled, because they do two things. They manufacture, but they also assemble. Now,
yes,
if these were cheaper than those that are on market, then I'm happy we've made that breakthrough, because I'm always disorganized and hurt. How do you tell me something made here is more expensive than something imported?
I did notice that there are certain mobile phones that are made locally. There was one that interested me. It was a smartphone called My One, and that one is manufactured here in Uganda. And the price was about 399, and they said if it's not at a trade fair, it costs about 500,000. Now, for a smartphone, I think that's quite affordable. But also, Robert, when you mention some that are made here and are a bit expensive, I noticed that there was a company that dealt in couches, chairs, basically household. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You are watching Good Morning Uganda with me, Olive Monica Najuma, together with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, seated right here with me. By the way, I didn't compliment you, but you look amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love the suit, the tie. You look like you're ready for business.
Definitely. You see, when a month is coming to an end, you have to do all it takes to to get the money that is meant to be yours in that month.
In that month.
So I'm now very busy. If I'm demanding you, pay me. If we had a deal, even if you are joking, the deal must see the light of day.
Tuagara cent.
So I must make sure that the money God meant for me in October, I must get it in October. Any deal you promised, I'm very aggressive at this time.
Okay, Robert. But also joining us from Studio B is Joram Paul Sonko, very demure and very mindful today. But anyway, the gist of our conversation today is mainly the food insecurity in the country. A report shared last week said that 3 in 10 Ugandans are going without food daily. And according to the world, this was on the World Food Day last week, and at least it said that 3 in every 10 households will skip a meal or not eat at all for the entire day. Now, according to statistics from Uganda Bureau of Statistics, they defined severe food insecurity as frequent and prolonged periods of insufficient food intake due to a lack of money and other resources, and that ladies and gentlemen, is our conversation for the day. In a country that is known as the Pearl of Africa, in a country that is known as the food basket of this region, how come you'll find 3 households going without food in a day? That is quite huge. And for some people, they may think, okay, maybe they had maybe breakfast, maybe lunch, maybe dinner, but no food for the entire day. Now, I'd like to go to Studio B first, where Jerome Paul is, to pick his mind on this. Jerome, for you, from your perspective, what would you say are the major contributing factors to this food insecurity in some parts of the country?
Well, when you look at some of the parts of the country that are having this as a severe kind of situation or pending issue, many of them are in the Karamoja sub-region, followed by areas in Soroti. Now, when you look at, because when you look at the division of these particular statistics, also show that Arua is also another area or another district that is also highly affected by this. Now, when you look at the division of all these regions, you do realize that one of the factors leading to this is the seasons. That the dry season, and most of the areas or most of the people who live within these areas, and for example, Karamoja, it is just of recent that they are getting active when it comes to, you know, cultivating of food. Many of the people within Karamoja were pretty much more focused on cattle rearing.
Would you say that would you say that this has been the main reason as to why this region is very vulnerable?
When it comes to the seasons themselves, it's one of those reasons, not the main, but it's one of those. And then also the kind of activities that many of them engage in. Now, when it comes to areas or regions like Western Uganda, you'll get to realize that there are quite a number of economic activities, and one of those economic activities where many people are engaging in, not only even in Western Uganda, but also in most parts of Central, includes agriculture. That is cultivating of food, whether for commercial or food purposes, which is not the case in the northeastern Uganda. And then the other bit of things is the poverty bit of it. When you look at also the division of poverty within the country, or how poverty is within the country, most of these areas are quite underprivileged in that situation. And they do not have enough money to buy 3 meals per day. Because on average, not all Ugandans, according to the latest statistics from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, have 3 meals a day. And this puts you into understanding how poverty-stricken most of these areas are and how it is affecting them. Because to afford 3 meals a day, even here in Kampala, where many people think things are okay, not so many Ugandans can afford even 2 meals a day. And that bit of poverty, but when it comes to the kind of activities the people in most of the areas which are being highlighted as food insecure, not so many of them are engaging in this food agriculture, and even the practices of agriculture that they are engaging in are not so much supportive of them being able to have food on a daily.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Now, Chirabo, I did mention, and it has been really established, that Uganda is a food basket. We have fertile lands. When you go to Western Uganda and other regions in the country, different regions have land that is viable for different types of crops. When you go to areas like Kabale, you're going to find that they plant Irish potatoes in plenty, but also areas like Mbara give us the best and the most delicious matoke. And then when you go to other places, they are cultivating maize, to mention but a few. But then let's look at government intervention. If we are saying that it is probably the types or the systems of agriculture, that the places that are mostly food insecure, it's because of their types of agriculture that they are affected. What have been government's interventions regarding this, and are they sustainable?
Well, thank you so much. We'll begin with Karamoja. Now, Karamoja, which is most hit here, for a very long time it has been depending on donor aid. And when food delays to come, you find them in drought. You find them even reaching extenses of eating leaves. But it's not because their soils are that bad. Recently, there was a research done to show that Karamoja is one of the areas with good soils.
Yes.
And viable for agriculture. Now, government for a long time has ensured that helping people of Karamoja is giving them aid, not coming up with sustainable solutions. I remember there was a time I was in Karamoja under NUSAF 2. And one of the things I found is there's a lack of mindset change, deliberate mindset change, fostered by government to show the people of Karamoja that this may not be sustainable for a long time. Because, one, population is increasing. You see, Karamojong's, I don't want to look at the disputed report of census, but you'll find that populations are growing. Now, ability to still depend on cattle, and when drought comes, is something you can't continue with. That when there's a heavy drought, so they can't depend on their cows for milk, for blood, now government comes and gives them aid. The government should put up intentional agricultural plans, cultivating. Now, what government has been doing is so much on aid, plus our donor partners. How do we aid these people? How do we give them aid? How do we give them foods? And you'd find them lying for foods. Now it's time to say, that is an ox plow. We are focusing on teaching you how to fish, but
instead
not giving you
the fish. And issues, which other issues would have to come to the fore here? Because when you talk about plows, what what modern farming methods could help the people of Karamoja to, have food and grow food at a large scale? Well,
the ox plows I've talked about, because when you're making people adjust, for them we're going to give them the handhold that Mbarara is using and other areas. Then also you must factor in the issue of irrigation.
Yes.
Because much as they have good soils, they also have a time when they have drought. Now they must be able to grow food in and out of season. Irrigation, because it is a shame that we pride of Uganda, agriculture being our backbone, but we still, 90% of our farmers depend on rainfall fed agriculture. That's why when you go to the next area, which is Bukedia, that region there, for them they have food and have it in plenty when the season is there. But they also go through severe challenges.
And the seasons have changed.
And the seasons have changed. So they'll have plenty, they'll have food, then they'll run out of food. But also, government must develop. I remember sometime during COVID, His Excellency talked of silos. That when we are in season and we have plenty, how do we keep? How are people trained? Because you find that these people grow plenty of food at times. So much. When you go to our brothers that grow maize here, when these people, you find them with the millet, you find them with the sorghum, you find them with cassava, you find them with all these foods. Then after some time, because they don't have proper storage methods.
Yes.
Where one time when I was in Canada, someone would tell you the rats are a problem, rodents, this, that. So government should come up with methods how these people can be able to have food, that when they have plenty, we can find cheap methods of value addition to preserve this food.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Now, Jerome, let's look at community impact. It does look like larger families and households with less educated people seem to be struggling the most. And the big question here is, how best can they be helped?
Well, how best they can be helped, the efforts that the government has been coming up with. You see, with what the president normally says, that commercial agriculture. One of the aims behind that is to see Ugandans getting engaged in these agricultural practices. It's either you're doing poultry, you're either dealing in piggery, or you're either dealing in fish farming, you're doing, maize, you're growing matoke or bananas. Why? Because you're encouraging these communities that with this particular food, if at all you have your land to grow, you can easily have something to eat, you can even sell out. Now, when you're done selling out, you're going to get money, meaning that money will help you to even buy more other foodstuffs as well. Now, something that many people within urban areas are coming in or are at an advantage of over those in some of those rural areas. Now, going into what they should do, and one of the advantages that the people in rural areas are having, and I do not want to kind of say it is all of them are having it as an advantage, but some of those in certain parts of upcountry have the advantage of the land to grow. Now here in Kampala, the chances are if you do not have money, or in urban areas, if you do not have money to buy food, then you have got to get a job, or you have got to look for that money. Yes. Because you're going to become a beggar. Now, in rural areas, if you do not have the money and you do not have land, that is where the problem comes in. Now, if you have the land, it is now going back to you to ensure that you make good use of the land. And this is where the local governments have to come in. That we are not supposed to be having all these numbers of people in rural areas failing to have access to food. If the issue is the seasons, now the government has to make sure that they enhance the irrigation schemes to ensure that they support these people, that if at all their seasons are not favorable for food growth, then you've got to help them and support them, teach them how best they can grow food with simple irrigation schemes of very simple irrigation practices that they can come up with and in a simpler way learn how to grow their own food, and regardless of the capacity or the portion of land they have got. And
Jerome, even here in the city, there's different innovations that have come to the fore. I remember the recently concluded international trade fair at Lugogo. I remember talking to a gentleman that was exhibiting and teaching people how to grow certain plants in jerry cans, in bottles. So probably even those that don't have land, there are ways
and you see, Olive,
to grow some plants.
Olive, also the other issue, by the way, is that the fact that we look at agriculture as the backbone of our economy, it actually even we actually become more prone to food insecurity. How? Because when you look at when you're dealing with agriculture, you've got to understand that it comes with lots of things. There are pests and diseases that may attack your gardens, the seasons, and these days they actually change. Meaning there's got to be a lot of intention when it comes to helping Ugandans understand how to safely or having the best practices when it comes to agriculture. Because many people have become, many regions have become food insecure simply because of the pests and diseases, and they do not have solutions to these.
Okay, Shirabu, you have something to say about that?
Yes, Joram talked about irrigation, which I must say is a call we've made for a long time, and His Excellency over a time has promised and promised. I don't know why we are not getting to that. But he also mentioned issues of pests and diseases. Now, I'm very passionate about agriculture. I'm a farmer myself. But there's something I want government to act very fast. That is the research. Last week, I was at Kawanda, that agriculture research institution. I was looking for some species of jackfruit. Now, I discovered that most of these these research institutions have so much. They have pest-resistant varieties almost in everything. they have high yielding. But you see, this research stays there, and now what happens? The big shots in government, because for them they can go to these institutions, get those things. So you find one has cassava, it's having cassava wilt. The other has a variety that will never be attacked by that. The other has tomatoes that have a certain drying problem. This one has a variety that is not attacked by that. So there is so much that is being done by government in these research institutions.
But it doesn't get to the
But
people.
doesn't go to the individuals. If they need the media, let them pay. Buy airtime on UBC. Bring those experts. Because it hurt me so much that some of the problems that were disturbing our farmers, my friends in our group, the solutions were there, and we've made tremendous losses over a time. I was shocked when they were taking me around. No, there is this, but then I asked them, but how come all this good research? You know, you have it here, you have demonstrations, and what is hurting, you even awarded recognitions globally.
But we are recognized for what? Okay, the research is good,
Yeah,
but
the
it
research is
doesn't
good.
trickle down to
you
people.
find these people on high platforms being awarded Dr. So-and-so who discovered this. Then they show this is resistant, it yields better. Getting an award in the US. Here in Uganda is the problem farmers are suffering from. So how do we trickle down this research to the farmers? When we talk about systems of irrigation, I found cheap methods of irrigation that an average farmer can afford, but they are not aware of them. Leave alone the bottle. Remember when His Excellency showed people using a mineral water bottle? Some failed, but I have some farmers who say that thing really works.
It does.
It does, the mineral water bottle, though it was criticized and politicized by some people. But my name, in fact, you find that all the solutions for our farmer, then finally, it is time. We have bylaws that compel people to work. So Uncle talked about people in the village that have land, but lack food. I traverse some of these villages, not in a car, in a motorbike, on a motorbike. And sometimes you go to bury for our friends, and you hear people say, "Wanawadda Rumonde, Wanawadda," you get it. But you're passing through thickets.
Why? Why do people have land and not tilling it?
Tilling it. You see, the history of this country, we have a very rich history, though it was hurting. People to plant coffee. There was force. People, you had to have a garden. A man, you had to have a garden. There were certain things, and if you didn't do them, there was a cost for not having them. Or Sukura Sabasajja. The king would never come to eat food from this. But you had to have that. Today you go in villages, people are soaked in drinking, people are soaked in doing nothing, but yet they are having land around them. And these are youth that still have the energy. So we must have either community bylaws that we come to your home, you have the land, you don't have half an acre of sweet potatoes, or you don't have this. Kwenda huko, go to Mabusu.
Thank you, Chirabo, and I'll take those as your last remarks. Now, Jerome, Chirabo says we must use force, but I'd like to know, on a personal level, in your own perspective, how can Ugandans help their communities to curb away with food insecurity, especially the people with larger families and less educated?
Well, you know, with the less educated, because I've grown up in some of the areas where there are less educated people who know how to grow food. So I think the issue is, like Chirabo has mentioned, that at the Institute, he realized that there are certain things that not so many Ugandans are aware of that the Institute even has, or narrow. So when you look at what most of these communities are facing is they lack access. And the reason as to why many communities have always been calling upon the Ministry of Agriculture to help them when it comes to the extension services also is that these extension officers will be very helpful when it comes to managing and also understanding the dynamics of agriculture from the technical bit of it, because many people are actually failing out to be food secure because they don't know some of the things. Like, for example, you're growing maize and you have weevils or you have pests attacking it, and you think someone is bewitching your garden or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yet you don't know that the practices that you're doing are the reasons as to why you are in such a situation. So I think from that side of things, the government has got to come up with intensive outlook programs to ensure that they go out there to teach these farmers. And I'm saying this because there are certain areas and communities where the government has actually been moving there with extensive work to ensure that they help out these farmers. And the results are there. Not only are people now earning a lot from their agricultural practices, but others are having plenty of food to even give out for free. So that is something that we need to pick up on as a country. And also people who have been successful in agriculture, they need to also help out on those other communities to safely have better agricultural practices.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Now, a comment from Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makindi Luwafu. He says we were always bragging about agriculture being the backbone of our country, but this is going to be history soon. Issues of food shortage are mainly caused by our human activities like deforestation, yet trees help in rainfall formation, poor farming methods, and many more. Still, other factors like land shortage, price fluctuation, pesticides and diseases, overtaxation, poor transport network, among others. Those are also big threats, and here government is fully responsible. And lastly, people should be encouraged to do more subsistence farming than commercial farming. Okay, thank you so much for your birthday wishes, Derek. And Christopher says there is an underscored factor like the higher cost of living in most domestic homes. People have less or no capacity to buy the desired food or garden equipment needed. For example, in harvest of this last season, a kilogram of maize at farmer's home was 300 shillings per kilogram, but the same planting seeds of the improved maize like longer 10, it was between 10,000 to 25,000. That means a farmer will sell 100 kilograms to afford only 1 kilogram for the seeds of next season. This affects as well as other farm inputs, making sustainability a myth. Solution: government should gazette farm inputs to affordable rates, but also provide basic garden to market road access as well. Thank you so much, Christopher. And this is where our conversation will end. And Good Morning Uganda continues.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't go.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachiko. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that.
Okay.
The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government. It is designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning to all our viewers. My name is
Abe.
Tango, and this is the GME Tweet Express that we have totally dedicated to making sure that we give you all the updates and what is happening in the world of travel in Uganda's tourism. Well, for a very long time now, Uganda has been struggling or wrestling with lack of a proper marketing strategy. And I should say that Uganda Tourism Board, together with the Ministry of Tourism, are really bringing up very beautiful digital advancements in marketing Uganda's tourism. Now, when you look at how we've been marketing our industry in Uganda for years, Uganda Tourism Board and Ministry of Tourism have been marketing, and they've been putting a lot of the focus on traditional marketing tools, let's say, like print media, going for expos, having collaborations with maybe international magazines. And yes, that was a plus. However, there is an era where other countries had landed and Uganda had not yet been landed there. When you look at into the digital space, where the world is really moving in the digital space, tourism is really a digital industry. And yes, the marketing board has been trying so hard to see that they embrace digital marketing. Let's say they've been carrying on social media campaigns. They've worked on the Explore Uganda website. It is very comprehensive and dynamic, like in terms of information. When you visit it, it has worked with CNN. It recently launched out a campaign with CNN where they're showing tourism content, Uganda's tourism content on CNN. And then it also launched a partnership with Emirates Airlines to see that more content, tourism content, is showed in their aircrafts. That is all a plus. However, it really had a real digital advancement last week when it launched the Explore Uganda app. This was a plus, and this app has it all. Whether you're a local tourist or international tourist, the app has everything that you're going to need to know about Uganda's tourism. Now, the app has so many things, from attractions, accommodation, activities, events, investments, but it is an interesting app, and it is so interactive that when you get to this app, you definitely get to know what really Uganda has, and that is a plus because it is going to put up easier ways to book your safari. Now booking a safari to Uganda is becoming more easy than ever before because you have everything that you need on just your fingertips. Just to take you through about the app, how do you log into the app? How do you access what is on this app? Now when you get to the app, after downloading your app on your phone from Google Play Store, you're going to be able to see the attractions just like you see on the screen. You're going to see the attractions, what is there to see in Uganda, mountains, wetlands, lakes, anything that you're going to do, anything that you need to know about Uganda's attractions, you're going to find it there. You're going to see events, There are events, cultural events, food events, art events, technology events, like any event that is happening in Uganda, you're going to be able to see it on that app. You're going to be able to see accommodation. You're going to see accommodation, you're going to see hotels in Sesa Islands, you're going to see hotels in Mbale, you're going to see hotels in Kapchora, like hotels across the country. You'll be able to also view restaurants and cafes across the country, so that will make it easier for you to dive into the culinary that we have in the country. So whether you want local food, you want continental or a la carte, anything that you need to have, you'll be able to dive into the restaurants and cafes that we have in the country. So that is a plus when you look at the app, because it is so engaging. You'll be able to view, even with the Google Maps, you'll be able to view the attractions around you. What can you do? Maybe if you're in Kampala, around maybe Sheraton, which places can you visit around Sheraton? That is good. But also there are also investments. The investment portal, where you'll be able to view the investment opportunities for you in the tourism sector. So the app is very nice, and I believe that it is going to bring in some positive strides into the tourism sector, because it is going to be able to connect tourists and tour operators directly, to connect tour guides directly. So wherever you are, whether you're booking a safari in your sitting room or in your office, you'll be able to access all the information you need to know about Uganda's tourism. And at the launch, Uganda Tourism Board, the CEO for Uganda Tourism Board was elaborating much. She was saying that this app is coming up to put out all Uganda's tourism information at just your fingertips, to see that you're able to book your next safari at ease without stressing, and they are able to give you all the information that you need to know about Uganda's tourism. However, yes, as much as this is a good stride into marketing Uganda's tourism, there are some concerns that are really rising up. And the first concern that is rising up is from tour operators. Small businesses are really wondering, won't this overshadow the tour operator? Because remember, in this, the tour operation has been just like a middleman, connecting tourists to tour guides and hotels and all these destinations. So if a tourist is able to access a destination and a hotel and a guide directly, so won't this affect the tour operator, the tour operations, where the tour operator is going to be left? So there is that concern. However, we also believe that if there is that competition, tour operators will also be able to work hard and put up maybe unique and special itineraries that can attract tourists to work with them and book their safaris to the country. Then another concern is small businesses are worried that which criteria is there that they are going to be using to be listed. Because when you look at this app, it has a marketplace where tour operators are listed, hotels are listed. And yes, at the launch, the CEO of Uganda Tourism Board said that hotels and tour operators and guides, all those who are licensed by Uganda Tourism Board, will be listed on this app. But there is a worry that who is going to come first? Who is going to be on the top of the list, who is going to be on the bottom of the list? And then small businesses are worried that maybe they could be overshadowed by bigger businesses. So it would be interesting if the developers come up and show that this is how we are going to use to rank the hotels, or this is what we are going to use to rank hotels and to operator businesses on this app. Then another concern is about sustainability. Is it also just going to be another excitement or another exciting hype in the industry, and then after it will fizzle out after this excitement, or it is going to be constantly updated by the trends that come up in the tourism sector, and also with real-time content? Then also another issue, the last one, was content. Is going to be providing content for this app? Is Uganda Tourism Board going to be the one updating this app, or will it be using user-generated content, or the tour operators are going to be providing content for this app? However, at the launch, the CEO said or called upon for the different stakeholders like tour operators, guides, to keep on providing content for them to feed the app, so that they are able to have real-time and up-to-date content on this app. Otherwise, it was a plus, and I believe that it is going to bring in positive strides into the tourism sector, and we shall be able to have in more tourists coming into the country using this app. So let us monitor the app maybe for the coming months, and we shall know that whether is it going to be really so impactful, or it is just another dish in the industry. Thank you so much. That is it that we had for you today. My name is Irene Alena Misango. And coming up is the business update with Joan Paul Sonko.
Hello there, it is the 21st of October 2024, and let's get into the business bit of things this Monday morning. Starting it off with what was happening over the weekend in Mbale, because the Vice President, Jessica Alupo, has commended the founder and investor of the Mbale Industrial Park for the contribution in addressing the rate of unemployment within Mbale district and some parts of eastern Uganda. She was opening the two-day trade exhibition at the Sino Mbale Industrial Park. That was on Friday, the 18th of October 2024. And the Vice President, who was representing the President, promised government support to further the development of the industrial park through various incentives that will be heading towards that direction. Now, the Mbale City Woman Member of Parliament, Connie Galiwango Nakayenze, thanked the founders of the park for employing the Ugandans. With over 50 industries within the park, there are quite a number of jobs and market for local produce, which has also improved due to the establishment of the park. Now, new factories have also been constructed, paving room for employment opportunities for the many Ugandans, both in the skilled and non-skilled departments within the industries that are in the park. And well, of course, speaking of that and also moving away from it, the youth empowerment has also become something highly discussed within the country. Now, government has been urged to expand internet access to reduce costs to help the young people find jobs. The call was made by the Forex Bulls Academy, an organization that trains youth in online Forex trading. They say many employment opportunities can be created through the various online platforms, but only if government is very intentional when it comes to expanding internet access and affordability of the same. The Forex Bulls Conference converged young people from different parts of the country and abroad at Bible House, where Forex Bulls CEO Daniel Aikize led a session on the basics and benefits of Forex trading. Now, Aikize emphasized Forex trading offers a flexible, non-discriminatory system and benefits of Forex trading. Aikize emphasized Forex trading offers this platform for the young people who are ready to tap into the space. Now, he also appealed to government on expanding internet access to rural areas and to lower costs to make it more affordable. Now, other instructors at the conference highlighted the long-term benefits of Forex trading, while participants shared how the training has empowered them on financial independence. And then also lastly, last week was the International Day of Rural Women. And this particular day, celebrating the Day for Rural Women Farmers, was celebrated on Friday in Kampala at the Golf Course Hotel, where a new platform was launched for women, or for the rural women in farming or in agriculture. And of course, quite a number of women took part in this day's celebrations, as the celebrations also converged quite a number of agricultural exhibitions at the same venue in Kampala. Well, away from that, we now turn our focus onto the forex market to see how the forex, or to see how the Ugandan shilling has been faring on the exchange. This is courtesy of the central bank. Opening time saw the US dollar buy at 3,665.41, while selling was 3,675.41. Closing time saw the US dollar buy at 3,668.64, while selling was 3,678.64. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,763.72, while selling was 4,776.71. The euro was buying at 3,981.57, while selling at 3,992.42. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.43, while selling at 28.51. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.34, while selling at 1.34. The South African rand was buying at 207.40, while selling at 207.96. And well, that does it for business this Monday. I'll be back tomorrow with the latest from the world of business. But as of now, Olive Monica Najuma is here with the traffic updates.
Well, it is a chilly day. We received some clouds of rain, and that means roads are slippery, and unfortunately that also advises a heavy traffic situation. Good morning, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and we are in the areas of Banda, and what I see here for those coming through from the Kampala-Jinja highway, we are experiencing extensive traffic jam in the areas of Banda, and I think think that this traffic jam is coming all the way from Chireka. But picking up from Banda, where we are at today, I see that the entire stretch coming the side of Kampala is intense with traffic jam. Actually, when you get to the intersection where Chambogo Road connects to Banda, here the traffic situation becomes even more intense, as evidenced by those deep red zones we are experiencing on the road as of now. And it doesn't even help matters for those that are going to Reka side, because I see, as you can see over here, that both lanes of the road that is coming to Kampala and also going to the side of Wegere Chireka, we have extensive traffic jam in this area. And for those coming to Kampala, it is bumper to bumper, where you won't be able to move. Basically, you're going to be moving at a snail pace. But then continuing ahead, I see that there is a bit of reprieve, where I'm seeing, yes, there is traffic jam, but not so intense, as evidenced by the orange zones that you're seeing over here. Now, in a surprising move, as we go ahead, I see more traffic jam going the side of Banda than going to the side of town. And this goes on for quite some time as we continue ahead. This starts from around the traffic lights outside the Spear Motors, and at this intersection that connects Nakawa Ginger Road to Ntinda Road and also Kampala Ginger Highway. Now from here, for a big stretch of time, those going the side of Banda, you're going to be embroiled in intense traffic jam. Now the good news for those coming to Kampala, after the intersection at Spear Motors, we have smooth flow of traffic for a bit for those coming Kampala side. Now those that are using Katalima Road coming from the areas of Naguru, we have smooth flow of traffic over here. You will only experience traffic jam when you connect to the main Ginger Road Highway. And the traffic jam that is going the side of Chireka is continuing even when we reach the intersection in Nakawa, where we have New Port Bell Road connecting to Kampala Ginger Highway and going the side of Nakawa's Banda side. But those coming the side of Kampala, we are now starting to experience smooth flow of traffic, as I see that the Kampala Ginger Highway from the traffic lights in Nakawa here is giving us smooth flow of traffic. A bit of traffic coming in from 3rd Street connecting to the Kampala Ginger Highway, and then after that we have smooth flow of traffic. Well, with that, we end our traffic updates for this Monday. But you should know, since it has rained, everyone comes out onto the road at the same time. So it's important for you to start moving right about now if you want to get to your final place of work in time. Well, Good Morning Uganda does continue, and when we come back, we will be speaking matters the Parliament Administration Bill that is meeting so much resistance from the ruling party NRM and also from other opposition parties. Stay tuned.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, They've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala, we have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This week on UBC. My name's Jung Gwonjong. I'm the boss of this entire hotel. My duties include heavy lifting, spreading happiness, and driving fancy cars. I'm responsible for the area by the hotel entrance. And I officially moved into the sunroom. You think you can cut my share of the rent?
Say what? What?
To maximize my space, I needed to improvise a bit. That day, she walked into my life. Hi.
So, insurance, right?
Huh? Like that. I can.
Don't let him scam you. We don't want your investments or insurance.
I met the woman of my dreams.
I'll take you home. I got the Maserati.
How do you spell Maserati?
M-A-S-H.
Okay, we're leaving. You shouldn't drive, especially not in that car. The cops will fine you extra. His family's got money and don't know what to do with it.
What's your name, huh? I'm reporting you.
If I were to be with a guy like that, I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror.
Maybe all rich guys are like that. I'm not a rich guy. I'm down to earth. No, don't. It's not worth it. But after I met you, I suddenly got out of bed
John Wonjong, I really was wrong about you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, you are still watching Good Morning Uganda with me, Olive Monica Najuma. Now, the opposition political parties have rejected proposals in the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2024 that was moved by Mityana South Member of Parliament, Honorable Richard Lumu. Now, this bill, among others, aims to change the way the leader of opposition is chosen. And I will have guests with me to discuss further what the elements of the bill are and why many opposition parties, but also now the NRM party, are rejecting this bill. Many are saying that the bill is self-seeking and might actually affect the workings and the independence of the opposition. Is this true, or the opposition parties are just running scared? Many questions that many Ugandans are asking. But to answer some of these questions, I'll be joined by Nisima Gachibayo, who is an NRM cadre, but also a lawyer and political analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, my sister Olive, and to our viewers, whoever you are, a very good morning to you. I congratulate everybody who has got something good this morning, and glory be to God. But also take the opportunity to pass my condolences and sympathies to those who have challenges and those who have lost their dear ones. May the good Lord comfort you all. I wish you a nice discussion.
Well, amen. Now, Gachibayo, let's jump right into it. The Administration of Parliament Bill 2024. It has been a topic of conversation in many circles, that is political and even non-political. Ugandans are very interested in this. But before we go any further, please help us understand some of the elements that are within this proposed bill.
Yeah, thank you, my sister, and to our viewers. The Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2024 was brought by Honorable Richard Rumu Kizito. He is a member of Parliament representing Mityana South. And so I remember when we had the regional parliamentary sittings, and the one that first sat in Guru, Kaunda Stadium, that is when we saw Honorable Rumu raising up on this matter, of course as a member of Parliament, and bringing his private member's bill. what we call a private member's bill. First of all, as a member of parliament, he has all that constitutional mandate. When you look at Article 94 of our constitution, 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Clause 4B, where a member of parliament has the right to bring a private member's bill. That is when we saw it coming at its, being raised by Honorable Rumu. That was in Guru. And many Ugandans were asking, why is he bringing it this? Why is he, talking about this, the election? I saw in his bill, the elements you have asked about is one, he wants to have the leader of opposition being elected by, the members in the House. Not this time around where a party or a political party that has, the opposition, that has many numerical strength, appoints somebody and then comes up as a member, as a leader of opposition. Especially the other Article 82A, that's what his concern is. Two, he was also saying about the election of the commissioners of parliament. He says, no, we cannot just have them being appointed by these political parties. Let's, as a house, elect them as members of, as commissioners of parliament. And I think as time went by, he also brought in other things, like, we need, I remember him talking about the speaker, them also being with the deputy speaker, that's the alternative speaker. So very many of the elements. So speaker gave him leave to go and, prepare his bill properly. He brings it to parliament and also goes to the Attorney General's chambers to be accorded the necessary assistance.
But now, this bill, he got leave from Parliament to prepare it, and he did, and he brought it
for the first
so,
reading.
according to, from your understanding, what is he trying to address? There is, okay, the leader of opposition in parliament being elected vis-a-vis just coming from the political party that has the highest numbers. But now that we understand, but how does that change the politics as they're supposed to be as far as the opposition is concerned?
Well, when the bill was presented for the first reading, it was sent to the Legal and Parliamentary Committee of Parliament, where members or even political parties have been always going there to give their proposals and suggestions on this bill. So I think it has like 45 days to be brought back to the whole House and to the Speaker. But first of all, I want to appreciate whoever has gone there to give his or her suggestion, and more so the political parties. Because I remember when this bill had just started, many opposition members were saying, no, it is not Honorable Rumu's bill, is being used by other political parties like that. But I think of recent, that's when our party, our NRM went there in the committee, and they gave their suggestions. Okay, for them they are saying, no, I think this would entirely drive away the principle of the multi-party political dispensation. You remember, even the framers of our constitution under Article 71, where they said, no, we are no longer in one movement system, we are into a multi-party political dispensation, where political parties have, the right to exercise their political mandate. Even in 2005, you remember the Political Parties and Organizations Act that came about. So when they say, no, let it be elected by, the House, they are saying, no, you are driving away this principle, and Ugandans may not exercise their constitutional mandate and the right to, formation of a political party. So that entirely brought about the enlightenment now that Honorable Rumu is not being used by the people who are saying, NRM is being using him. No, but other members of parliament.
What would NRM stand to gain from using Honorable Lumu, or in the works and ways through which the leader of opposition is chosen?
But why should we, as the party, use...
I'm asking a question. I'm asking because there is the claim that the Member of Parliament, Richard Lumu, is being used. There is that allegation. But then there is also, to that question, there is the counter question of what would NRM stand to benefit by using him for this bill?
We entirely don't even benefit anything, and more so, why should we use Honorable Rumu? Yet we have our NRM members of parliament in parliament.
You would need someone from the opposition. So what would you say to like...
You see, this is a private members bill.
I understand
Other members of parliament have always been even bringing their bills also on a private, members bill. For example, Honorable Asumano Basarwa, he brought about the other one, the homosexuality act. You remember the bill?
That part I understand, but Gachibayo, I would like for you to, because this is, by the way, not a minor question, and this is not a minor allegation. When there are allegations that and claims that the NRM is trying to use Lumu, because there have also been questions and claims of sabotage of the opposition from NRM. What would you say about that?
That is laughable to any Ugandan who is watching us.
Okay.
Why really a political party that has stayed here long and has the numerical strength like the NRM use Honorable Rumu, and more so from DP? Really. So I think that is greatly laughable to anyone who is watching us. So for us in the party, or the NRM is a strong party that has members of parliament who are strong in parliament and on the NRM ticket. We don't think if we want anything, or amendment of a law, we have to use opposition members of parliament. And more so, this is a private members bill that can be brought by any, irrespective of your political affiliation. For as long as you're a member of parliament, it has not been brought by me, Ninsima, or neither my sister Olive, but it has been brought by a member of parliament representing Mitiana House on a DP ticket.
Okay, so now looking at this bill, let's look at the implications. What would be the implications of electing the leader of opposition in parliament as opposed to appointing them as is the norm?
Well, for him, when I read it further, and I also, I got an opportunity to interact with the Honorable Rumu, because he's a lawyer. We meet in our field there. He told me, no, look, these people are insulting me. These people are not getting into the nitty-gritties of my bill because they have not read it further. Now that it has been taken to the Legal and Parliamentary Committee of Parliament, they would get the opportunity to, read it further and get to know the contents. Because he says, no, when you leave the leader of opposition to be, appointed by the other opposition party that has the numerical strength in parliament, sometimes it does not allow other opposition members of parliament to choose or to participate in the election or in electing a member of parliament.
Appointing.
Appointing a rope. So he says, no, his bill entirely brings that, no, let everybody participate in this for as long as you are on opposition side. And that would, I think, bring about the right for them to participate in the electing a rope, and two, also maybe others to get the opportunity to stand, not electing one person, because you elect one person, he or she has some weaknesses and you don't agree on here. Secondly, he said, when you are appointed as a ROP, sometimes decisions are made by one person. And he says, no, I'm a leader of opposition that has not even consulted other opposition political parties. And many others that he put in the bill. So that is entirely what he says. Thirdly, Ugandans thought that he's targeting somebody. Some Ugandans.
Isn't there some water to that claim?
Because he's targeting somebody, yes. He's targeting rope, he's targeting what? He said no.
No, Gachibayo, from your perspective, again, we have seen this bill come up. Look at the timing. Look at what has been happening in a certain political party, that is the National Unity Platform. Look at how and the circumstances under which the former leader of opposition was taken out of parliament, that is Mathias Mpuga. And tell me that there is that this smoke is without any fire whatsoever.
Well, but the Honorable Rumo's bill says he's not going to start in this 11th parliament. For him, he says, no, whatever I'm bringing is targeting the 12th parliament. And he wonders whether or not the same rope will be the same rope in the 12th parliament. So he has, when you have not listened to him or given him the opportunity to, talk to you further, you can say maybe he's targeting somebody. No. You cannot be a rope in the 11th parliament and you expect to be a rope in the 12th parliament.
It doesn't happen? It's not allowed? Is it illegal?
Anyway, but he's saying why...
Is it or is it not? Is it legal or is it illegal?
Now, how sure are you that the same party that you are coming from will have the same numerical strength?
Creating a scenario where let's create a scenario where it does. I mean, FDC had numerical strength in parliament for some time, for some cycles. And my question is, in the event that they still have the numerical strength on the opposition in the 12th parliament, would it be illegal if they choose to have the same leader of opposition come back as leader of opposition?
But still the party can, the appointing authority in the party can say, no, now you have served here, let's bring Olive to come
I understand. What I wanted you to pronounce to us is whether or not it's okay or not.
No,
because
it is lawful.
Could be here
it is lawful
and
for as long as...
illegal.
No, it is lawful for as long as the appointing authority still has the trust in you, and has appointed you to be the rope.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, and when still in the event that this bill were to be approved, though I don't know if that is going to be, but in the event, how this shift impact the balance of power and influence within the opposition parties?
Well, I remember there's somewhere I was hosted and we are discussing about the report of the Afrobarometer. You know the Afrobarometer, the NGO that goes in the African countries to do the research about how countries have moved in the way of democracy and conducting their elections. So I remember the Afrobarometer report of the 2024 mentioned about the challenges that these opposition political parties have, and more so the fights. They said no, there is still, the inside fights by the opposition, and therefore they don't have the one voice, or they are not, united to see that they carry on their so-called opposition in Uganda. And so I want to stand on that report of the Afrobarometer to tell you that it is true. This opposition in Uganda has never been united, even if they try to show Ugandans that we are united. We want to or exercise the opposition in the country, it is not true, because some based on self-seeking and individual, interests.
But
isn't
that what politics has become? And in every aspect of, let's look at politics across the board, whether it is in NRM or the opposition. Can we agree on one aspect, that most of our representatives, that is members of parliament, have become self-seeking? Is that true or not?
Like you said, some, but not all.
Many of them, many of them. Why? Because where am I coming from? Government itself has moved to actually curb the commercialization of politics. When you look at commercialization of politics, the reason behind that is why. Why are we using so much money in politics? If politics was just to serve the people, would people be spending hundreds of millions to get to parliament?
But I remember the Supreme Court pronounced itself on that, prohibiting the fundraising. That was in 2016.
No, now recently.
You remember the Right Honorable Mama Mbabazi running to Supreme Court in the 2016, the election petition #1 of 2016, where he went there, but court pronounced itself and stopped that.
Court did in 2016, and yet again, as we speak now in this 2024, about 2 months ago, government still made the same proclamation that they want to devise ways on how to curb the commercialization of politics. Which brings me back to the other question. Are you really sure that politics has not become a self-seeking venture for both members of parliament in the ruling party and also the opposition?
No, I think the biggest part we have in the country is the civic, education about now politics and elections. Why should you, my sister, elect a member of parliament who has just, come up by that way of the fundraising and the commercialization we are talking about, and expect that member of parliament to work for the country, or to work for the constituency where he or she has come from. It means somebody came by that commercialization, that fundraising, that self-seeking, and will not be able to carry on the issues of the national interest in the country. So I think that is very challenging now. We need to look further as Ugandans and elect leaders who have national interests as opposed to self-interests in the country.
Okay. Now, this bill, the Administration of Parliament bill, how does the opposition believe the current system of the leader of opposition being appointed, how do they believe benefits their role in parliament? Because they're against the bill, meaning they are pro the current system. So how is this current system, in your perspective, benefiting the members of parliament in their roles in parliament?
Well, it may be benefiting them, but also to a certain extent not benefiting per Honorable Rumuzi bill, because he says no, there is some kind of dictatorial tendencies that to elope lead of opposition, where decisions are just taken by
one person.
By one person.
But
not
he says that,
others.
but then his colleagues are obviously against him, so it means there are benefits. Can you name some?
Well, I may not be into that really the benefits. But to what I see is that one, being a leader of opposition, first of all, as a leader of opposition, you are supposed to carry on your constitutional mandate and the rules of procedure of parliament, that you leading all the opposition. okay, opposition members in parliament. And more so, you are the voice. You do what we call the checks and balances in parliament and in government. So I expect a leader of opposition to be like that, who carries on the checks and balances on matters that have come up in government, but also much as you are a leader of opposition and you need to carry on your checks and balances, they should be done objectively.
Objectively.
Yes, objectively. But we have seen some tendencies where a leader of opposition wants to be crashing every now and then with the government or leaders of government organs. So that I think that would not be the right thing.
Mr. Gachibayo,
Yes.
there have been clashes between the leader of opposition and government.
Yes.
But then what would you say to Ugandans who think that he's actually trying to highlight some of the things that have not been done well? I'll give you a case in point. Recently, when they went to visit the Lubowa hospital, and actually even more recently when they went to visit the site of Rock Telecom, and they were denied entry. So when he comes out and criticizes that, is he really clashing with the government?
No, like I said, that much as you are doing your checks and balances, the oversight roles, but that should be done, not in two crashes, but objectively. Where I find something has not gone rightly in the country, I expect you to raise that matter on the floor of Parliament, or put it to the attention of the Right Honourable Speaker in Parliament, so that it can be discussed further, and also, calling on, calling the other relevant authorities, like the minister concerned or the line minister. Yeah, if maybe you have gone to visit a hospital, yeah, so I expect you not to crash from where you have gone, or in the locus, especially. Bring that, or not what has not been done properly. Bring it to the attention of the speaker, and let the speaker bring it to the entire house for them to discuss, and also question or bring those questions to the line ministry, especially like the one we are discussing about the Rubowa. I think the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, the one that released the money, and other relevant authorities would be tasked to explain further, but not, crashing or every time being in the limelight to the news and the media houses.
By virtue of his position, he has to be in the limelight. He has to give interviews. Because here is my perspective. Imagine a situation where we have the youth trying to demonstrate going to Parliament, and our president is quiet. Okay? Imagine a situation where there is rampant corruption in government agencies and our president is quiet. Okay? Would Ugandans appreciate a silent president, or they would want a president who comes out and speaks about some of these things when they do occur in the country?
But you see, my sister, like the issue you're talking about of, corruption.
No, you mentioned he's always in the limelight, and I'm just juxtapositioning these two. The leader of opposition, and when he is speaking to the media, and the president, and when he is speaking to the media. So I think it's, I don't know.
You see, irrespective of our political affiliations,
yes,
we remain Ugandans.
That's very true.
And one thing we should put further is Uganda.
I agree.
Now, him being in the limelight or being in the news every now and then, what does it add, to the solving of the challenge that we have noticed?
What would you rather he does?
Him bringing, he has gone for oversight role.
Yes.
Okay, as any other member of Parliament. Him being, a leader of opposition.
Yes.
Now, visit that place, not what has not been done the way it is supposed to be done. bring it to the attention of Parliament and let the majority discuss about it so that we can have, an everlasting solution.
Okay, I'm having a conversation with Ninsima Gachibayo, who is an NRM cadre and also a lawyer, but most importantly, a political analyst. Now we are looking at the Administration of Parliament Bill 2024, the amendment of the Administration of the Parliament Bill 2024 that was presented by Mityana South Member of Parliament, Richard Lumu. The bill seeks to change how the leader of opposition is chosen. Currently, the leader of opposition is appointed and he comes from the party that has the numerical strength in Parliament. So currently, the party that has the biggest of numbers from the opposition is National Unity Platform Party, and the current leader of opposition is Joel Senyonyi, and the former is Matthias Mpuga. But now, one would have thought that members of Parliament would be in support, especially the opposition, would be in support of the amendment of this bill. Unfortunately, it seems to be meeting more resistance than acceptance. Now, I'm joined by another guest, that is Walter Lubega Mokaku from the DP bloc. Walter is a seasoned politician, but he was also a presidential aspirant at one point. Good morning and welcome.
Morning. And salutations to those who are watching at the moment. I'm really sorry. I was caught up in the traffic.
It's understandable.
I couldn't make it up here, especially Entebbe Road is a. Thank you for the topic.
Yes.
And I don't know what you want me to say about it.
Okay, I'll start. This bill, to many, actually many people thought that members of Parliament from the opposition would be in support of the amendment of the Administration of Parliament Act. But it turns out that many of you are actually against the bill. Now, the bill says that many members, among the elements of the bill, many members of Parliament from the opposition are not given a chance to choose or have a say in who becomes their leader of opposition in Parliament. So I'm curious to understand, where are members of Parliament coming from rejecting this bill?
By and large, this Parliament, the 11th one, is a nightmare to the voter.
Oh, wow.
By and large.
How so?
I have no sweet words.
Okay.
I have seen parliaments because I started politics when I was 18, 17. This is the least performing. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether position or government. I'm actually sorry to say this on air. But of course, we can always self-evaluate. Even if you are the member of Parliament, you can put a torchlight on what you're doing. Going the opposition, what the Honorable Luchams Mabike and a few of them, Kule Park, Cecily Ogwals, did when I was in prison, in the safe houses, in the military barracks, and they gave us parliamentary amnesty, using private members' bills and trying to influence the other group to see that there were innocent people. And in time, in a nick of time, 57 members of Parliament that emerged from the people power, and others who are independent, and the 34 from FDC, almost 100 cannot influence Parliament, a bill, to see even those 8 people government admitted had, to see them out of the danger. 100, for God's sake, when only 15 people influenced So, when it comes to this bill, who doesn't know where the problems of Uganda are? He may not have constructed it in the best way because he's an individual. But I think the issue that he's raising, everyone sees it. Number one, we don't have internal democracy in our political institutions, including the leading political institution, the opposition. A party that is run with no constitution, with no organs functioning, with no what? Who doesn't know that this exists? If you are Ugandan, for God's sake, you must see this. If even kids in primary schools and secondary schools debating, they point out this, how about a member of parliament? How about that? That we have seen members of, most important members of the party being expelled from the party with kangaroo courts, not party organs. So when it comes to a major decision of picking a leader of opposition, in parliament, because for us in the Democratic Party, who have been longest in the opposition, we have that the parliamentary group shall sit for and on behalf of the party to choose the leader of opposition. And then, nominally, the party leader then nominates. You see, there is some democracy somewhere. You know that there will be a torchlight somewhere. And when we talk about the parliamentary group, in the case of the Democratic Party, it means all those members who are selected to run for parliament, not only the parliamentary caucus, but who are selected, because a party selects these people democratically, and they know that all of them are fit to become members of parliament. So that's where it comes from. Now, what we have seen in the recent past is that the party leader, Democrat or not Democrat, democratically or not, imposes the leader, and many times we have gotten the wrong choices of a leader of opposition. Then the confusion that emerges. Didn't we see it during FDC? Latigo. You know, the Latigo. And after Latigo, then you hear Cecilia Ogwal was supposed to become, then she didn't become, then Nandala came, he performed fairly well. We were lucky that he performed. Then the issues that came after, then you have Winnie Kiza performing fairly well, but again, she's removed, and then you bring somebody else who cannot perform like her. We cannot be taken hostage as a country. Look, Parliament is an organ of the state.
That's right.
One of the major institutions. So if it's an organ of the state, and the excuses that are being given. So look at the excuses that are being given. Oh, you know now, you'll be removing the power of the other party that has won. But look, no, don't we choose the speaker?
Okay, Walter, is the main problem here being that the National Unity Platform Party does not have structures? If it had structures, would it be okay for the leader of opposition to be appointed or elected?
Who stopped the National Unity Platform from having structures?
I want to understand, is the main problem the party not having structures?
No, I have talked about the issue of internal democracy.
Yes.
Even in my Democratic Party, we have the Constitution, I've told you about it.
But you have structures.
But what we are having, somebody goes and tells you how they signed a memorandum of understanding with the ruling party, and then you have a president sitting on the other side, and members. This lack of internal democracy that we are dealing with has caused a lot of problems than solving them. So when a member comes and very humble and says, look, we've got to address this. There is a big gap which we must bridge. Think about the principle. Don't talk about the few phrases or lines. You're a member of parliament. You are given chance to shine a torchlight on where the problem is. It's the same thing that we saw. Should we go for these regional sittings or not? Are the 5 billions too much for us to go to the north. If you actually pass the budget, then you go to the north, shine a torchlight on what the problems of the north. When it comes to Uganda, we have the Nsonga Sema Songa Tan, 5 of them. Go to Masaka, shine a torchlight. You don't just say, I'm not going there, I'm not going there. You waste public money, which you passed. Secondly, you are not helping the people of Uganda to shine a torchlight on that. Then you sit out. Then those you say are oppressing the people, they go and enjoy all the benefits with the caucuses that are.
Because money has been released.
No, President Museveni, whom you want out, and you are choosing of being a dictator, you leave him to go to the north, interact with the Acholi caucus, Lango caucus, the Karamoja caucus, West Nile caucus for 5 days. Among Tayewa, the whip, you were in Kampala, I don't know what you are doing, and you are being paid. You see, sometimes some of these things, and your argument, we should not have wasted 5 billion, but you were there when they were passing it.
Well, according to the Speaker, the 5 billion was part of the budget, the entire budget of Parliament.
And who passed it?
It was not a special budget that was given for the regional
and
cities.
Who passed it?
It was part of the money that is given to Parliament to do its business. Yes, the entire House passed it. But the argument from the opposition, the argument from the opposition was that this money, in as much as it is part of our budget, should be put to better use than going for regional sittings.
That's why I said, like Tamale Mirundi, if you sat in that parliament, passing that budget, and you know that once a budget is passed and normally accented to, it becomes law.
They passed the entire budget for Parliament, not budget to go to northern Uganda. No, it's like when you're given a cake that this is your meal, and then the Speaker decides that part of this meal will go to regional parliamentary sittings. That is the argument the Speaker had. It's not lying. It's what the Speaker. It is what the Speaker said, because the issue of the money came up, and the Speaker, in her defense, said this is not money that was put aside for only regional sittings. She said this money is part of the entire parliamentary budget.
But we read, we follow, and when they're passing the budget, major issues, how Parliament is going to spend the money, are listed. It's not an omnibus thing that Parliament will now have 1.5 billion. No. They are listed in detail. In detail.
So the question is,
one after one, the parliamentary business, and in Parliament there are committees.
And Walter, the question here is, when the list for what is going to be spent on was released, were the regional sittings part of it, or they just come out of nowhere?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
So then the opposition was wrong to not go to...
And when you are lead of opposition, when you are lead of opposition, who sits and who presides over all those, and you're part of the Commission on Parliament, and you went asleep, you deserve not to be there. And this is where Lumu comes from now.
So I think from your submission, I now understand you were pro the bill.
No, what I'm saying, the bill is addressing a major gap.
So why is it that members of Parliament
such that
from
Uganda
the opposition
is not taken hostage?
Walter, why is it that members of Parliament from the opposition do not see that? Even the members of Parliament from NRM seem not to see that, because all of them are against this bill. Why?
I started on that. I didn't want to. If we had all the time.
Yeah, no, we don't. But I would like to understand, because from your perspective, you make so much sense, and from their perspective, they seem to make sense. So what a Ugandan out there is in the middle, is the grass that is suffering right now.
There should be sense that occupies a higher notch than the other. It cannot be sense. That's the whole essence of debate. And there will be one who will take the debate. Even when you go to America now, when a debate is there, everyone is arguing, and they are all presidential candidates, and they are coached, but there is one who takes the day. What I'm saying, how disappointed are you, or not disappointed are you with this parliament? That's where you start from.
Okay.
How have they handled parliamentary business?
Well, let's look at some of the views coming through. And Mohimira Benon from Mitoma district, but watching from Arua city, says the opposition in Uganda indeed is not there. It's simply a joke for some people looking for their own agenda. If opposition was serious at bringing this government to an end, then why not unify under one party? The breakaway of political parties from opposition already tells what is behind the players' motives. However, regarding the Honorable Lumo's bill, I personally don't support it. It should remain the way it is and have time to understand the political situation of our country regarding its effects. And Innocent says, good morning, UBC. To me, I'm not buying the idea of the NRM guy, that is Mr. Gachwayo here. He says because the bill is favoring them as the leading party, and this is from Innocent Okech from Chira. He says the law is very clear. The party with majority members of parliament takes it. So if DP members want to get a leader of both position in their party, let them win the majority. Thanks. Well, our time is fast spent, so regarding these comments, I'd like to take your parting shots, Gachwayo, and then Mr. Mokaku will share his next.
Well, I want to thank those who have given in their views, and I also want to thank my brother Samuel Walter for the great discussion. But one thing I want to agree with him is that he talked about the infights and the internal, where there is no internal democracy. I think in my preamble, I stated it. You remember the report of the Afrobarometer of the 2024, where it pointed out that there are still some infights and lack of democracy in especially in the opposition political parties. But something I want to disagree with him is that
we are really out of time.
Something small, where he said that the 11th parliament is a nightmare to Ugandans. I think, to me, I don't think is right, because it has tried its best to pass the bills and the laws, and if there is, and you cannot say that it can be like the 6th or 7th or 8th. Because every parliament that comes has its own, challenges and strengths and benefits to the Ugandans. So I think that is it. But let's elect leaders who have national interests as opposed to self-seekers in this country. That is how we can move. I wish you a great day, and may the good Lord keep you all.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mkaku, your parting remarks.
Overall,
yes,
the 11th Parliament has let down. That doesn't mean there are no good parliamentarians in there. There are really some very, very good performance. Overall, as opposition, we have failed to be strategic in our approach and to cure the problems that are hindering us to forge ahead and push the dictatorship, misrule, capture, systematic capture, pervasive capture, and this mafia cultism.
Well, the cultism seems to be happening in every party, unfortunately.
If it happens in every party, it does not stop it to be a problem of Uganda.
That's why I said unfortunately. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mkaku. And to you, our dear viewers, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. And for those that shared their views, we thank you for sticking around and being a part of the conversation. Now, I'm going to hand over the realms of the show to Jerome Paul Sonko, who is coming in with sports updates. And as for me, Robert, and the rest of the team, we'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning. Good morning, and thank you for watching.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Ajuko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Ajuko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, we'll be back from that particular discussion, and very insightful indeed. And for all of you